Yo, what's going on, guys? So, in today's video, I'm going to be answering the question of is software engineering dead? Should you become a software engineer in 2026? Is this something that you should be pursuing? I'm going to answer some of these questions that plague a lot of you guys that are in the job market right now that can't find work, or it just seems like it's nearly impossible. Why is it so tough to get a gig right now in the job market? Well, first and foremost, you see the headlines for tech layoffs that a lot of developers have been let go because of AI taking the scene and doing all the things that a developer can do. And a lot of people think the job of a developer is going to be obsolete soon. You really wasting your time with applying to these jobs that's never going to call you back or is never going to send you a proper email that they did receive your application and that we're going to go with the next steps. You could have AI build out something that is workable. Honestly, if you want something to work correctly, there's a lot of prompting that you have to do. You could give AI as much context that you could give it, but at the end of the day, is not really going to be 100% of the solution. And also the entry level and junior level developer positions are overly saturated. There are a lot of people that either they don't have the right skills, they just don't have any value in terms of like the projects that they built and being able to communicate what they built and all that stuff. There's a lot of different factors as to why this is a problem. And then also a lot of people are applying to these jobs and the load is more so than it was back in the day. All right. So you have to think about HR going through all these applications and trying to find the right people is a daunting process. Okay. And then you're going to be relying on AI to vet through all that stuff too. So it's never going to be 100% correct. So you're going to be dealing with a lot of different factors and variables that's going to determine whether you actually get an interview or actually get picked for a job. And that's just what it is. And this is why it feels like a lost art. The entry to junior level roles are very saturated. AI can now solve basic problems. You don't really need to worry about writing code for small things anymore. You can use AI, give it context, and it'll do it for you. It just helps you with being more productive. And then also, if you want to focus on like more of the complex stuff, you now have that opportunity to do so and put 100% of your time into that. There's a lot of job market fatigue too. You keep applying to these jobs, you keep getting rejected, keep getting ghosted, and you're just like, why am I wasting my time? Every single day I'm applying to these jobs and I'm not getting any feedback. And that is frustrating. So I definitely understand why you would feel this way. But let me put you at ease a little bit so that it could probably help you with your motivation to stay in the grind because you got to suffer a little bit to make some changes, right? And it's all about making small, subtle changes to stand out there more and actually get some progress and get some small little wins going. AI isn't replacing engineers. I stand on that because I use AI today to build things and it's never 100% correct. I could give it a prompt that is very detailed oriented and it does a good job of breaking things down and writing the code that you need, but you still need an engineer to look into that code and make sure that it's on the right track because it can hallucinate and it can create bloat within your project. Okay, so it does help with boilerplating logic, and then also code suggestions that you probably were thinking of, but you just needed that validation. I use this to help me with like front end components. If I'm building out a front end feature, I don't necessarily want to focus on the front end as much. I really want to focus on the back end logic, the actual architecture of how everything is going to interconnect. So then I'll have AI using like Cursor or using Claude Code to determine how the front end would look like. And then based on the look and feel of that, I could then give it additional prompts to make adjustments. And you guys need to do the same thing. You guys need to get comfortable with AI because it's here to stay. All right. And you need to have AI give you a breakdown of why they're implementing that code. And whenever you accept those code changes, you fully understand what is being implemented and some of the changes that you can make on the fly. All right. So it's good at making mass updates too. This is something that I think is a productivity hack for me personally. But if there's something that I need to update across every single area of my tech stack, I could have AI understand my entire project, give it full context of what it needs to do, and it just does it behind the scenes. And then I just look at what the suggestion is, and I can either accept or provide additional prompts to put it on track. So, what would take me maybe a week to do will now take me maybe 2 to 3 days to do. That's a huge increase in productivity. Just think about it that way. And then, say, for example, if you need someone to peer review your code or you want to plan your next project, AI can help you with that. You still have a chance to jump into the job market, but it's going to take a little bit more grinding to do so. And the reality is, AI cannot do certain things. I've tried to prompt it to do certain things for me in terms of system architecture, design architecture, and all that stuff. It gives me the basics of it, but still, I need to understand my tech stack and figure out what to build, how things should work. You need to understand how to build a system from scratch. What makes a system work? Okay. You understand the fundamentals of that, you should be golden. Understanding the trade-offs of stuff. So if you're vibe coding, a lot of you guys are probably vibe coding if you're using AI and you're not using it properly to supplement your learning. But if you're not understanding the business trade-offs, cooked. And the reason why I say that is because you can have AI clean up or refactor some code that is part of the business logic itself, and then it breaks other areas of your application or it breaks other areas that are crucial to your user base. And that's something that you don't want to do. So, understanding the business trade offs of when to refactor something versus when to let it be and actually have a bigger conversation in terms of how to refactor that is something that you need to learn. And that's deals with communication and taking ownership of these issues. Ownership is important. If you do not take ownership of problems that are out there and you're just prompting them for AI to take care of, 9 out of 10, you're probably going to have the wrong answer. So if you were to take ownership and actually understand the problem, break it down, and have AI kind of validate what you're thinking and how to solve a problem, it could give you some suggestions and then you could piece everything together. But totally relying on AI to do everything, you're just setting yourself up for failure and in time wasted. All right. And in this job market, the people that think software engineering is dead, I mean, who's really impacted by this? Is it just the people that are applying to jobs blindly? Or is it the people that don't really have the skills? The junior level market is hard already because they want you to know so much because of all these tools and frameworks out there. You need to know not only the basics, but how can you build something with value. And this is why I advocate on this channel that you should be building a project that means the most to you, that you will spend the most time on to solve a problem. If you are not doing that and you're just going on YouTube following a tutorial, that's not something that you built. It's not something that you actually built and that you could be proud of. If there's an application that you're building that is from scratch, the front end layer, the back end layer, you have everything pretty much mapped out. You can easily communicate what that project is about. You could demo it. The hiring manager would look at that and be like, listen, like this guy or girl is legit. So think about it that way, right? It's going to be harder to jump into the job market because you have little skill. But if you were to supplement AI with your skill set in learning to build something and just do it and learn and iterate, you have a better chance to jump into the job market for sure. And like I said, the engineers with no impact, you have no impact skills, no communication skills, your resume is very light, you know, these are the people that are getting rejected right away or not even being contacted. And then also, you guys that are vibe coding, I know it's cool getting an MVP done, you getting your projects done quick. Doing that and not learning, and then you magically get an interview, and then you're questioned on your knowledge of a particular framework, and you can't answer it. That's not a good look, bro. That's not a good look. So it's so easy now to be lazy. It's so easy now to be lazy with these AI tools, and you should not be relying on AI 100% of the time. For the easy things to do, have AI help you with that. For getting something up and running so you don't have to go through the boilerplating of doing it yourself, use it for that. but then learn and write code the way you want to solve the problems that you need to solve. And with that being said, if you are impacted, what skills really matter in 2026? The biggest thing is problem solving. You need to understand how to solve problems. This is the essence of a software engineer. We deal with problems all the time. And it might not be problems that are assigned to us, but if something comes up that's a showstopper, we got to figure out what the problem is and come up with solutions. If you're not able to have that mindset of solving a problem and being confident in your solution and proposing that, you're not going to get a job. You're not going to be able to become a software engineer. So problem solving and understanding that is crucial. System design, understanding your tech stack and the fundamentals of that is crucial. And that helps you with your communication and ownership skills. The more you are put under pressure to work on problems that are complex, the easier it will be in the long run to then build whatever you want. And you won't have that imposter syndrome that you can't do it. And you shouldn't have that imposter syndrome now because now you have AI to help you through that process. But if you really are being strict on learning and you just want to do everything on your own, that's not the way to do it. If you have tools, use them. But the more you get into building something and thinking outside the box and solving these problems and understanding where these problems are coming from, the easier it is to communicate and solve these problems effectively. And then also understanding business logic. Where does the business logic need to be? Is it in the front end layer or the back end layer? The business logic should always be in the back end layer. Always. Okay. If you're not doing that, I mean, you're cooked. Okay. And then you got to refactor all that stuff later. So you have to understand this. This is crucial. All of this is crucial in 2026. It's not about writing code. It's not about understanding, the basics of React and all these other languages. It's all about learning those hard skills, of course, but then also your communication skills, your soft skills will take you further. With all this being outlined to you here, who should pursue software engineering? Now, if you love to solve problems, this is a career for you. If you like to learn with AI, this is a career for you. If you are focused on bringing value to those that need it, this is a career for you. All right. If you're just focused on the money, if you're just focused on being remote, if you're focused on just having an easy life, more vacation days and all that stuff, those are great. But you have to understand the people that have been in the field for so long, they are entitled to that because they put in the work. You are still trying to jump in. So you have to pay your dues. If you enjoy any of these three topics, then software engineering is for you. You need to understand your why first. Because if you're just doing it for the wrong thing, you're gonna burn out real quick. You're not gonna like what you do, and then you're gonna go back to what you was doing before. And the verdict, obviously, from what I just talked about, is that software engineering is not dead, guys. It's not. It's just the job market is very tough to get into. You might not have all the right tools. You're probably not confident in your skill set anyway. These are the things that you need to build over time, and this is something that you have to do in months, right? You have to keep going at it every single day and do it like you love it. There's going to be days that you don't do it. Think about, the hardest thing I think it is with people is actually sticking to a habit, and once it gets hard, they stop. But once you get into that point where it was kind of difficult and now it's super difficult and stick through it, those hard times are going to be way easier for you to adapt to. So anything that comes your way, you should be able to do it. Just like trying to get into shape, right? Not a lot of people know what it is to get into shape, and then also what it takes to do that. It's not only about going to the gym and lifting weights and doing cardio, it's all about your diet, what you put into your body, the nutrients, all these different things you need to understand. Not just taking supplements and all that stuff too. Everything needs to align to get to where you need to be. So if this is what you really want to do and you have all these qualities, then being a software engineer as your goal, as the big picture, is something that you should achieve. But you have to break this whole thing down into smaller pieces, smaller actionable steps that will help you achieve that goal. All right. And if you need help with that, need help understanding exactly what path you should take in software engineering, You could book a one-on-one with me. There's going to be a link in the description where you could click this link. You could look at my calendar; it's open to the public, and you could book 15 minutes with me to see if we could work together. Okay, so you tell me exactly what you want. We figure it out. We'll jump on a call. We'll talk a little bit more, and then we'll schedule other sessions down the line to keep you accountable of what you want to do. All right. So that's it, guys. That's the video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts is on software engineering, how tough it is in the job market right now, and do you really think that engineers are going to be obsolete anytime soon? All right. We'll talk soon.